I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone present here, despite unimaginable circumstances causing a hit to supply chains globally. The Israel-Iran war didn't just cross a red line. The entire geopolitical map, and more so our supply chains, have been incinerated. The disruptions don't just stop here. Russia-Ukraine war has grinds grain and gas flows to dust. US-China tariffs choke rare earths for batteries. Europe's energy crisis idles factories coast to coast. But supply chains must survive to push for business continuity. Picture this. Extreme storms snap your tier 1 suppliers' logistics in Thailand. Carbon taxes spike your steel costs 30%. Investors ghost you for ignoring scope 3 emissions. Sounds like tomorrow's headlines. It's today's reality, ripping apart automotive supply chains worldwide. But here's the game changer. Decarbonization isn't just greenwashing. It's your profitability shield. Cleaner energy cuts volatility. Low carbon partners locks in China plus one resilience. Sustainable ops fuels business continuity and investors' love. Today, we gather here with India's automotive thought leaders as we discuss how do we slash emissions, fortify chains, and turbocharge profits. Buckle up, the future's electric, resilient, and insanely profitable. With escalating climate disruptions, Red Sea blockages, and energy volatility, how do you see the auto industry's economics evolving over the next 5 years? And what does supply chain pivots ensure profitability? Anyone can take up the question.
Yeah, if I may start, I think, I represent Michelin. So Michelin has been into this business, if I may call it, for years now. It's not something that has come overnight because of ESG pressures. So I think you mentioned scope 3, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. I think scope 1, scope 2 is the easier bit. I mean, you can, hire green energy. Scope 2, you can probably do good. Scope 1 is within industrial footprint. You can go green, you can do a lot of innovations. So we've done innovations as in electric, we call it curing process, vulcanization. That's one of the big energy guzzlers in the industry, in the tire industry. So we've done that back in 2009 in India when we set up our plant. That was the first factory we had wherein we had electric, vulcanization process. But I think scope 3 is where Michelin has found a business case. So our business is exclusively run on energy. We have truck tires that are energy-saving tires, and we stopped research on tube tires, for those of you who know, long ago. So even in India, 90% of our business is tubeless tires, even though the industry is 40 to 50% of tube-type tires. So for us, it's a real scenario. If we talk about our car tires, we are on the 5th generation, which we're going to launch from our factory in India, car tires in around June, July. We are 40% lower in terms of rolling resistance, the kind of fuel you use to run the tire. So for us, and our tires are very premium. I mean, if anybody knows Michelin, our tires are a premium because they perform. And it's a business model for us. So for us, sustainability is integrated into our business model. There's no other way we look at it. And it's not a kind of an afterthought. And it's not kind of something we do greenwashing for. So all our product lines are an extension of green. Even we have entered businesses which are on mobility. We have a company called Vizamo that makes inflatable, sail wings for shipping industry. It saves fuel. We have a company called Watia in Europe where we provide electric and hydrogen cars for leasing. So we are kind of fully integrated end to end, and our ambition is pretty clear. By 2050, we'll be net zero in terms of scope 1, 2, and 3.
I can go next. So I represent Cummins. Cummins is a global $34 billion company. We are the largest diesel engine and diesel engine product manufacturing company in the world. And being a diesel engine manufacturer, our vision today or the strategy today is only 2 words: destination zero. And I'll tell you why we have adopted this over the last 5 years. This is actually which has put us ahead of the market. So Cummins overall leads globally, and it is a market leader. There is no competition as such. North America on-highway truck market, we command 94%. India, M&HCV, we supply to Tata Motors. We command almost more than 50% market share. And in genset, we compete with Caterpillar. We still have more than almost 50% market share in the heavy-duty genset. What has made us lead in the market is that our consistent endeavor to produce and create products which are environmental friendly. So we actually beat the competition on emissions. Okay, performance everybody can match, but the emissions and performance both is a very tricky thing. So more you optimize on emissions, the performance goes down. But we have adopted the strategy that our emission first, and then we don't compromise on performance, and so we ensure reliability, we ensure performance, but we also ensure that we are leading in emissions. So that's our product strategy. At the same time, we have also the destination zero comes back to our scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. And when we look at our destination zero strategy, which is 2050, we have a near-term strategy, which is 2030. All our factories are required to reduce their GHG emission by 50% by 2030. And that's a pretty steep target. We have 141 sites globally. So to summarize, a positive intent towards sustainability actually is benefiting us in the market because we are seen as a responsible organization, we are seen as a market leader, we are seen as a sustainable organization. So to me, it is not a cost, it is a strategic advantage that you have when you pivot towards sustainability.
Yeah, Shanmukh, I would like to take another jibe at it. Okay, I represent Minda. I am the CPO at the company. Most of you must be knowing about the company, but just in short, we are one of the leading automotive component suppliers to all the OEMs, and there are about 78 plants which I head in terms of the purchasing value, and a lot of commodities we are buying. We are the largest producer of aluminum alloy wheels. So, for example, we buy from Dubai some of the aluminum. So, as you said, today was the hot topic in the morning. How do we sustain? But important point is here to understand the complete value chain. So, what you said, we got inputs about the company itself. But our value chain is much more larger. It includes the supplier partners. It includes the logistic partners. So, talking about supply chain, we should start first of all with the raw material. The raw material that we are choosing or we are buying. For example, in Minda, we are buying a lot of molten aluminum. When we say molten aluminum, we have the suppliers next door who are able to supply us molten aluminum. I personally buy almost 70,000 tons of aluminum every year. So most of it is I get in the molten form, or I get it in the form of recycled aluminum, which we call it green aluminum, which uses less carbon. Because if you take it from bauxite and you convert it, it takes a lot of energy. But if you take the recycled material and you melt it, it's easier to be done and less expensive. And carbon neutral, you're able to achieve much faster. So one of my suppliers gave an example in my annual conference that he is able to do so much recycling that the Gurgaon complete electricity can be considered as carbon neutral. So that was the example we got in the supplier conference from one of the suppliers. Second part is after raw material is the component. So raw materials get converted into components. So I'm going as per the value chain. It may take few minutes, but just try to explain the complete linkage that we should have. So when we do the components, it's important to choose the component, what my suppliers are making, how they are making, are they following the BRSR guidelines of emission and not. Then comes the assembly part, the vehicle assembly at the OEMs or at my place, the assembly part. Am I using the machines and which are efficient in terms of energy consumption? Are they energy efficient machines? Are these aiming towards a carbon neutral plant? Are these helping or not? Or they are taking me away from that? The next part is the logistic part. Logistic, for example, we have also some of our logistic partners here. So important to understand the logistic, whether it is integrated logistics, am I using a lot of air transport, or I am able to convert it to rail or maybe sea freight. So that would reduce the carbon part. The next part is on the value addition and the end of life. So how I am scrapping my vehicles, how I am scrapping my components. So that also plays an important part on the carbon neutrality. So looking at the complete chain from the raw material to up to the scrapping of the vehicle, the end part of it, and then making it in a circular economy. That is what helps us as a company and helps us as a country also. Thank you.
If I may say, because I was just hearing my co-panelists and all. So everyone, anyway, I think it is already established that yes, companies do understand what is the importance of sustainability, and they are doing everything within their operational control for scope 1, 2, 3. But if I come back to your question, the question was more like that, how is it panning out in India? So I want to touch upon here the macro indicators that we are seeing for the automotive industry in the country. First and foremost, I think that we are seeing a geopolitical, shift. So that and a decarbonization-led manufacturing process. Let's say pushed by the compliance also. We have end producer responsibility recently introduced by the government of India, as well as we are also seeing the carbon border adjustment price mechanism, CBAM implications. And if we see India's, and this, I believe this is an opportunity for India. While we are seeing a domestic demand is pretty up, at least in the urban areas for passenger vehicles. We also see a good demand in rural areas for light commercial vehicles and all. It is also a time that we can create a strong, very strong supplier base for the global OEMs and EU-based OEMs. So that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity, and if we want to establish ourselves as an affordable and not just from cost, cost and pricing mindset, but also affordable and eco-friendly product manufacturing hub and the supplier hub for the global, I guess that opens up a lot of avenues. And for that, I think all companies at the micro level, they are driving. They do understand this business opportunity. As an OEM, I represent here the Mahindra commercial vehicles, Aero, defense structure. So as an OEM, we see this as a business opportunity. So there is no way I can say that sustainability is only, hitting my top line. It's definitely linked to my profitability. Today, my Aerostructure clients and all, who are based in EU, they are asking for embedded emission disclosure. And without having the, without I map my value chain emissions, I cannot create a baseline, I cannot provide my clients, and I do not qualify for their, as a supplier. So definitely, I think gone those days when sustainability or green, transformation is seen as a LinkedIn opportunity or brand building opportunity, but cost intensive. I think definitely now the business case, we have come to a point now the business case is pretty linked.
Okay, Shanmukh. Hi, my name is Vikas. I am from the Bhaskar Group. We are worldwide close to 5 billion euro group, spread across the world with almost 40 plants and 60 offices. I have a different view. If you go about, we close to 3.5 gigatons of CO2 we emit as a country. And by far the absolute terms also, and by the percentage, India has grown by 3 to 4%, wherein China is 0.8 and US is 0.5. It's good to talk about decarbonization, but we are nowhere there at the moment, frankly speaking. When it comes to the task, it is led by either the group philosophy or by the OEMs. My very good friend Anup is here, and it is my pleasure to share a chair with him. They push us, then we push the limits. But we see that the delta, what we are investing in decarbonization and using the circular economy, where you cannot use the same material as a virgin plus the mix one, a huge amount of R&D is going into. And then we have to ask ourselves, is my consumer going to buy this delta which is going up on the cost of decarbonization? But on the other side, India has this lever and we are doing great. We are going in this direction. And I think by the country has 270, we as a group going to be net zero by 250, and India would be at 260. That's a year what I'm talking about. So I think we have a huge opportunity on our hands, but at the moment the cost dynamics does not work. And that we need to be very cognizant of.
I will take forward some of the comments from previous, my fellow panelists. My name is Nirban Mukherjee. I am representing Dana Incorporated. We are basically a driveline and component supplier located in 6 continents, 36 countries, and have an history of more than 124 years old. So taking forward what Swayantani also mentioned, that decarbonization is no longer just an ESG initiative. Gone are those days when we were looking at decarbonization from a compliance standpoint. It is the need of the hour for us to integrate decarbonization into business continuity policy. Once we do that integration, only then the businesses tend to become more resilient and be ready to face the present disruptions that we are seeing right now. So essentially decarbonization, maybe we park the ESG part of or the sustainability part of it for a minute, but look at the decarbonization more from a business continuity perspective, which basically helps us get ready for the disruptions, which by the way has been the new norm in the last 5-6 years post-pandemic. And I think that's a fantastic thing for all of us and the organizations we represent to be in this time right now. I really don't think that our predecessors must have ever heard resilience or risk averse or something of this sort, because basically what we are seeing now is not a normal situation. So how does one basically achieve this decarbonization and the business continuity? We have to merge, or we have to marry both these together from the organization standpoint. First, the benefits are tangible in terms of cost efficiency improvement, getting more supply chain risk resilient, increasing the overall cost, increasing the overall productivity and the operational efficiency of an organization, and at the end create better value for our stakeholders, a reason for our existence. And how do we achieve this integration of decarbonization into business continuity policy? I personally feel that risk assessment function and the sustainability functions should be merged together to conduct combined risk assessments, adopt digital tools. AI is the new norm, make the most out of it. Invest in resilient infrastructure so that it is here to stay for a longer time. And then we continue to see the benefits of this combination of decarbonization and business continuity policy. This is a new norm right now. Organizations who adapt to it in this present state will be sustaining in the decades to come. Else we know that if we don't adapt ourselves and look at decarbonization only from sustainability standpoint, I'm sure we will have some dinosaurs in the room who will not exist in the next upcoming decades. So to conclude my thought process and my speech, decarbonization integration into business continuity policy is now one of the most critical elements for any organization's forward-focused approach and their endeavor to become resilient. Thank you.
See, as of now, automotive industry is also moving towards a structured phase manner to implement decarbonization strategy led by government. This is in the right angle we are moving. So we should continue.
Yeah, good evening all. I am Anup from Maruti Suzuki. So if I just put forward an OEM perspective, like Shanmukh, you told, the scenario, supply chain scenario is too volatile, whether it is geopolitical disturbance or the various tariffs or the rare earth crisis. And definitely each OEM globally is working how to mitigate these challenges. And for example, like if you talk about sustainability and decarbonization, say Suzuki Group, we have our targets of achieving carbon neutral by 2050. As a product, if I talk about, we have our own plans of having a mix of products, right from say around 15% EV, close to 35% of hybrid vehicles, close to 25% of CNG and biogas portfolio, and remaining for flex. So, of course, these are typically the targets that we have fixed and the milestones on which we are increasing our capacity and capability. But as of now, if we talk about industry, there are 2-3 main things. One is the regulatory environment, which my fellow panelists also raised, that regulatory environment inside India, and of course for doing business outside India. So India is a big market now, not only for domestic as well as exports also. So we have to be taking these measures to be sustainable, to achieve the global norms, so that we can export our vehicles and fulfill the kind of market requirements. And this is a win-win solution, not only for the OEM, but also for our tier 1 to the entire value chain, so that it's a business opportunity for the entire value chain. One last point, which I think Vikas-san also pointed out, that I believe it's the duty of the OEM to handhold the entire value chain, whether it is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, how to achieve this decarbonization or the sustainability initiatives, so that the entire value chain gets strengthened. It's not only one OEM or 2 OEMs or 1 company or 2 companies achieve it, whether it is green logistics, whether it is support in renewable energy, whether it is in the development of new technology, new components, new parts. So it's the OEM as well as the big company's responsibility to handhold the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers to achieve this decarbonization measures.
My name is Prem Prakash Gajpal. I represent Advik High-Tech, this Indian company. And I can say that amongst all the panelists, I will be representing the relatively smaller company. And we are 100% Indian company, no JV or no office overseas, though we have 2 branches, 2 manufacturing plants overseas, one in Germany and one in Indonesia. So I will tell that with my experience, and that will tell you that what really is happening in Indian manufacturing, what kind of mindset and what level. So 5 years back, just post-COVID, when I proposed in one of the strategy meeting in the company that we should take this sustainability as a part of our strategy, it was kind of silence to think among the very senior leadership that why are we discussing about compliance matter in the strategy meeting? Because most of Indian company, strategy means what is my growth, top line, and how I'll protect my bottom line. So with reluctantly, with a lot of deliberation, this was accepted, and I was happy that we have accepted. And when we came out with the first report, the entire company, not only the top leadership, understood that what is power of this work. And then today, when I'm standing, we have achieved 60% of renewable energy, which we can say in terms of my energy, only by RE, it has contributed at least 35% of lower energy. Another thing which was taken through this initiative was energy, again, efficiency drives, which at least for any company will bring 10 to 15% energy bill down. So these are very simple examples. But this story becomes much tougher when we go down the lane. This is about the company which is 1,000 crore plus sales turnover. But we go to tier 2, tier 3, where they are still struggling with the basics of QCD. So to them to think about this carbon neutrality and then carbon sustainability is a big, big challenge. And I appreciate my co-panelists from Maruti. We said that we have to create that ecosystem, we have to handhold. But I will tell you truly that hand-holding is not going to help. At least today, in auto segment, Tier 1 has some capacity and capability to understand what OEMs are saying or what is coming through regulation. But you go down the lane, for them, every initiative it looks like a burden to them, because that capacity to understand. So perhaps we have to do the much bigger task, how to create complete value chain integration into that. Not hand-holding, but how we create the system to that, not only support. But sometimes we have to go and demonstrate to them. And that is experience I have. By what today OEM says to Tier 1 and Tier 1 has to adopt that, the same thing doesn't happen when you go down to the MSME. Because you have to go and work with them hand in hand, then only it is possible. You need to demonstrate that what is the power of this kind of work, then it will happen. So I also agree with what has been said earlier, that it still is too little, because if OEM, if I see by statistics, it can contribute to what, 10 to 20% of this carbon, 70% lies below OEM. Now in this 70%, again MSME's contribution may be close to 50%. So how to really bridge this gap is one of the challenge. So this is one of the challenge part. But as I said that the other part, what I said, what initiative we have taken, that is now giving us fruit in terms of getting access to the European market. And also another aspect I want to say, that when it comes as a push from OEM, or if it comes as a regulation, then we only work for them. But it's come as a part of a strategy of organization, then we work for us. We work for our own organization. So my sincere urge to those who are listening, let's not go see that it is coming as a regulation or it's coming as a push from somewhere, but how we make it integral part of company and then create that as a business continuity, what has been told by other panelists. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Prasad Bale. I'm representing ZF India. As you have rightly said, it should not be a compulsion, or no more it should be a compliance issue, but it should be an initiative to be taken by each one of us and all the companies. If we look at 5 years down the line before, the situation was like this. Sustainability or say EHS, it was a matter to be handled by a person who is having the responsibility of EHS, particularly a EHS manager. It was his job to carry out all the activities for the sake of compliance, and wherein others at the top level, they were more worried about the impact or the financial impact by the activities or the initiatives taken by this poor chap. Fortunately, now we are not in that era. Now at apex level, at all leadership level, the people have understood the importance of this particular thing. And now, whenever we are going for the strategies for our business plans, long-term planning, this is one of the biggest thing discussed at a very seriously. I think that's the reason this is not becoming a one function's responsibility. Hence, as far as the production, the engineering, the maintenance, of course supply chain is there, all these functions are contributing towards this. See, value engineering, if we talk about, or just design and development we talk about, if a person is having this kind of edge in his mind, definitely he will look for the thinner designs, the lighter designs, the lighter models, wherein the uses of these components for which we are buying, that will be somewhere controlled. And I think that will help a lot. Thank you.
Panelists have painted a clear picture of how global disruptions are reshaping the auto industry's economics and profitability. But I still haven't gotten an answer to my question. Maybe it wasn't articulate enough. My question was more on the current crisis situation in the Middle East. the auto industry sat in a policy sweet spot for the past year with lower GST and tariffs for the international players. Having said that, the current situation has caused cross-elasticity shocks because of the energy crisis. So I just wanted to understand how does that economics pan out where the cars are cheaper, but there are no buyers because of the fuel cost being so high.
Well, Shanmukh, this is a very interesting way to look at it. See, while I was coming to this session, I was just Googling out that how much carbon emission has happened between Russia-Ukraine war. And you'll be surprised it was 250 metric ton till last year. And it is not stopping and the other one starting. So when you look at these, and that is a main way that we wanted to, if you open the dictionary, the sustainability means the ability to sustain. So that's the meaning of it. And I think that is what our OEMs are trying to do. They are going electric. And we need to, of course, find a way out how this electricity is getting produced in a renewable way. And I think Government of India has this target of 500 gigawatts to be by 2030. So I think we are going on a very rapid pace to the sustainable side. Looking at the supply chain, I think one of the panelists said, when you talk about the resilient supply chain, in my opinion, it is an ability to preempt what is going to go wrong. Normally we say Suez Canal has been blocked. What is your another supply chain route? Or this is the war has there. What is your supply chain route? But all the while we were not even anticipating this could happen, right? The answer of if the fuel is getting expensive, so whether they will going to buy the cars or not, I think the customer has no option at the moment, right? EVs are one of the options which are coming up, but look at the price arbitrage between the ICE and the EVs. This has to come down. So I think not to go on the war side, but to see the supply chain is getting more and more tough. More and more tough for each country. The only solution we have is make India so reliable that everything is available, whatever we need in India. That's the most dream we would look forward to.
If I may, sorry. Oh, sorry, go ahead, please. No, please go ahead.
No, I'll take very short because you said that if cars are cheaper, why are we not and we don't find buyers. I don't see my company's balance sheet is looking that way. In fact, EV in 2025, we have seen a huge uptick in sales. It's like ranked second for Mahindra electric vehicles. When it comes to the light commercial vehicles, less than 3.5 ton, there also it's a huge uptick. So I don't see that, whether because of the war effect, there are two sides of it. If I look at it, one is definitely we are seeing middle-level, middle class income rise. Second thing, I think we must thank to Government of India's smart policy when it comes to the foreign relationships. I think we are playing a good balance because diesel price or petrol price doesn't only depend on the import part of it. Definitely we heavily dependent on the fuel import. But I think during this wartime, India is playing a very smart role, creating a balance between Russia, US, Middle East and all. Having said that, definitely there would be some ripple effect. But at least I don't see any the sales figure is not slowing down for cars, whether commercial or passenger vehicles.
The cross elasticity hasn't kicked in yet, like the prices go up.
Possible.
No, and also add to this fact that a few panelists answered. Policies of the present government towards the creation of startup environment rollout of policies which are favoring the creation and adoption of electric vehicles, be it PM E-Seva, be it the CESL policy, and so on and so forth. So this is creating an ecosystem which is associating grants and subsidies to better infrastructure of electric vehicles in the country, and this is fostering a growth of the electrification segment in the country. I will take an example of our own enterprise, a historic 120-year-old traditional driveline manufacturer, diversifying into the space of electric powertrain producing, created a greenfield facility 6 years back, and now I take pride to mention that we have very high level of localization both in terms of component and infrastructure in India. So I will say this is a great time for organizations to be existing in the present government era that we have right now, with policies conducive to growth. Take examples of gentlemen explained about the imports and being supply chain resilient. Take examples of the parts which we never thought of getting localized, components like semiconductors, government promoting the rare earth localization also in India. I know these are nascent stage and there is a lot of ground to be covered, but at least the government is showcasing or demonstrating the urge to create a local setup and infrastructure which will help diversify our import risks.
I don't know if you got answer to your question.
Yeah.
Okay. I think these are short-term disruptions. I think the bigger problem, the bigger thing in the world is there is China, there is USA. Whether we like it or not, 50% of the world GDP is contributed by these two countries. And while I respect the opinions of some of my co-panelists, but I think 100% localization will never happen because it's a globalized world. Okay, so we need to find our sweet spot with the government doing specific FTAs, where it makes sense. I think that is the way to go. I think the old world order is dead, whether we like it or not. WTO has failed because they did not foresee the rise of China and the way they operate the world economy. So WTO in its old form will never come back. I think it's for us to realize that, and the country is doing the right thing in terms of signing the right FTAs. That's one part of it. But in terms of ecosystem, just to build up on that, I think what we are missing in the whole piece is industries are investing. But if you look at China, USA, there is a strong research that comes both from academia as well as the industry. If you look at the R&D spend that we in India have as industries, it's very low. And that's what Mr. Prime Minister has also been pushing. Like, we need to increase our R&D investment in India. And also, if you look at the, the universities in India, I don't think any research university is in the top 100 of the world. So there's a big lacuna that needs to be filled up if we have to go in this direction of, sustainability, having the right technologies to take it to our tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers. I think that's a big puzzle, a piece of the puzzle that is missing in India at the moment, and that needs to be looked into.
If you ask me, I guess to answer your question, most of it is answered, but I guess it's a very short-term situation today. It's very difficult to predict that how long will the war continue and what will the prices of fuel. Having said so, I guess the strategies don't depend on such one event. It is a long-term event, but what is important is to create that ecosystem. So if at all today India's EV population is less than 9%, okay. So if we really have to move towards the way China is, even for China, commercial vehicles are almost close to 30% EVs. Bhaskar is more than 50%, but it has not happened overnight. So they have been planning for it for past 20 years. All the mines in West Africa and Chile for producing cobalt and lithium are owned by the Chinese government. So it has not happened overnight. So I guess we are making the right strides. And even let's say we move entirely to EV. Do you have the rare earth to manufacture all the magnets? You don't have it. And any day if there is a policy shift in China, we are again caught on the wrong foot. So I guess the ecosystem development, I guess the government is in the right direction to develop the rare earth, the semiconductors. If we need to continue this, if we don't continue this and we divert, for example, I'll tell you an example where we are getting caught off guard. 3 years back, I guess hydrogen was a burning topic. And we wanted to set up a lot of ecosystem in hydrogen, but today there are no takers for hydrogen. Because globally, even in Europe, hydrogen has not evolved as a economical way of mobility development, okay? So we, in our company, we set up a green hydrogen plant, actually. We created a factory to produce the hydrogen engines, and that plant is lying idle for the last 2 years, okay? And globally also same situation. We have paused our hydrogen business globally because there are no takers even in Europe. So we have to make smart moves, look at strategy which is 5 years to 10 years ahead, okay? And the ecosystem has to be developed. Let's say if we all go to battery, even EV, do you have a battery recycling plant? Where will you dispose the battery? Today we are all buying these cars. Where will these cars go 7 years down the line? The battery life is 8 years. Do you have a mechanism to dispose those batteries today? So the customer is not facing this challenge today, but they will face 8 years down the line. So the entire ecosystem needs to develop, but I think we are in the right direction. So for this current war, I think it is too short term to predict that people will stop buying fossil fuel cars and move to EV immediately. Even if you want, you may not be able to sustain that. So I guess strategies and policies are more towards long term, not directed by but definitely what he said is resilience is something we need to build in the ecosystem, ability to withstand those shocks. So maybe the passenger volumes or the commercial volumes may drop for a while, and we should be able to withstand that.
True. The first question has taken 45 minutes. We have more 15 minutes for the next 3. I'll just straight jump to the next question. How do we marry our core business strategy with decarbonization policies, turning sustainability into a business continuity powerhouse, not just an environmental checkbox, but a buffer against physical risks like floods, transition costs like carbon pricing, etc.?
I guess the question itself is to read after it is no more marry, it is part of the system. Okay, you don't need to marry it today. If you look at any part of the business today, what are your stakeholders? Your stakeholders are external stakeholders like your shareholders, your customers, your employees, and your suppliers. Okay, each one of them is actually looking towards the organization. How sustainable are they? Today, when I go to campuses, okay, even the young MBAs ask the same question. That what is your policy towards in fact, week after this, I'm going to XLRI and talking on the same topic. They want to know how sustainable is the organization. When I go back to the supplier partners, they're also looking on the same. And it is not sustainability, is not just environment. So it is the overall sustainability. It is ESG, the entire ecosystem. Okay, it is not just scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. It is what is your societal responsibility, what is your governance. So I guess BRSR is doing a good job. But the question is, each stakeholder is actually assessing the OEM or the companies based on the parameters of sustainability. So it is now part of your business strategy. So even if you're employees, you would love to work in a company which is sustainable. If I go back to my suppliers and I say, okay, you invest so many crores in your tooling, they would like to see, am I in the business for next 15 years? So it has become part and parcel of the overall ecosystem, I would say.
No, but what I meant was, how do you marry business continuity to decarbonization? Basically, what I mean to say, business continuity is become a very top priority in companies all over the world. If the business doesn't continue, sustainability...
I guess the short answer, sustainability imperatives or the sustainability initiatives are actually profitable in the long term. Okay, so for example, if you set up a green building, it may not have a payback of 2.5 years, but post 7 years, it is much more economical to run a green building compared to what it is not.
Exactly.
And this is for my personal experience. I have set up 3 factories. Okay, if you look at your overall product strategy, if you have a product which is moving towards more and more efficient with regards to GHG emissions, I guess you're winning in the market. So it has become part of your business. It is a business imperative. It is part of its business strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. So very quick. Not only that, we are redefining our product mix. From 2028 onwards, 40% of our product will be recycled. So that means we are working on a economies of scales to make sure that that happens and circular economy exists. You know, you use the word right marry. You know, the point is when we reduce the scope 3 for our OEMs by reducing the weight, and it has to come from by means of technology or by using the material which are sustainable, I think there is the ball game. I really don't know. We have so much of carbon credits. 80% of our power is renewable. We recently signed a PPA with a company who has windmills in Orissa. So we are 80%, and so many carbon certificates we have, we don't know whom to give these. You know, if I go to Anup San and says, Anup San, I have, you know, close to 9,000 certificates, he says, okay, we will see it later. You know, my point is, this we are building it up to make sure that we are sustainable, and we give a much more hand holding to our OEMs to say, you walk, we walk, solidarity with you.
That's great.
And I would like to give some examples that, for example, that fuel efficient vehicles that we talk about. Okay, so what does it require? It requires lighter material. Okay, so that means lower material usage. That's again a cost efficient. Fuel efficient vehicles, ICE vehicles, are adopted by the transporters and the fleet operators. I'm giving a very day-to-day examples because that's what I deal with. And that gives me better sales revenue. And at the same time, fuel efficiency means greater mileage, lower emissions as well. So there are these, you know, instances where I can see that it is completely married, or whether it is married or cohabitating. This profitability and planet positivity. Yes, certain investment, R&D investment and all, whether I can do a green steel and all, maybe I will do it a pilot. Later I will think of a scale as a OEM level. Those all are capital intensive. But there are certain things which are in terms of product design optimization, right from the drawing board, or in terms of logistics, changing from road to rail, or load consolidation, or the stack building. This is my cost savings for OEMs as well, and for my suppliers also. And at the same time, you pass on the benefit in price, in terms of price to your consumers, or the fleet operators for commercial vehicles. So I think it's a very win-win situation.
I'll just briefly add to what ma'am said, logistics, what you told. So when we also started using railways for movement of our vehicles, so there was a lot of apprehension how it will be possible. But currently 25% of our vehicles are moving through rails, and which say we have our plans of taking it to say 35% by within next couple of years. So I think for achieving decarbonization, each companies, they have their own plans. And someone very rightly said, it is how we develop our ecosystem so that it's uniformly we all progress towards achieving this decarbonization, not just in segments. For example, it is automotive or say thermal or some other industries, they move in other direction, and auto moves in other direction, because auto typically it's a almost 6 to 7% in the India's GDP. So it's very important for the entire industry to move towards this initiative.
How can your decarbonization targets supercharge your China plus one strategy by prioritizing low carbon suppliers in India, like Basto, Vietnam or Mexico, to dodge the geopolitical snarls and emission tariffs? Sorry.
See, when you talk about the decarbonization, India emitted 3 to 4% emission. China only did 0.8. So when you say China plus one, these are only my views, right? And my personal views. China is far ahead. I mean, we need to admit this.
It is, but it's not about just decarbonization, right? BYD in Brazil employs kids to their plants. Now that's not fair, right? It's not just decarbonization when you mean sustainability. It's other things like labor laws that China ignores.
No, but then the topic is different.
Decarbonization.
Well, I'm talking about the decarbonization and the way they look at the circular economy. This is the same BYD CEO said, by 2035 they will have the circular economy of the battery by 95%. Right.
That's not a
so
debate. That's clear.
So from that perspective, yes, India, but what China has done some few mistakes, which we are not able to realize today, but I think we can be faster than them because we are starting from scratch and we are looking at all around.
That's
Especially EU only has gone down on the emission by roughly 1.5%, but everybody has gone up. So when you say we are the highest absolute emitter of the CO2, that doesn't make us at the moment give us a feeling that we're going to be anywhere in next 5 years. But yes, by 2032, 33 onwards, we will be in a very good stride. We will have good economies and we have good ecosystem. That's what I see.
And what China is doing is clearly unsustainable. You will see in the decade to come, China will be nowhere. That's just my opinion.
No, I have a slightly different take on this. I mean, from a growing economy standpoint and the Viksit Bharat 2047, that vision Pradhan Mantri Modi has laid down and the policies are being framed towards it. I believe we should not be thinking or restricting ourselves to a catch-up game of China, Europe, because they are developed economies. We are still, as Gulamji mentioned, there's a lot of gap between us in terms of infrastructure and various things that is prohibiting us. But what is important is we are doing the balancing act. We have now understood that there is a need of getting resilience. As he mentioned, that it is not about getting woken up in the aftermath of a calamity, rather than that being ready for a future disruption. So for instance, some of the initiatives, I will again come back to my organization, say de-risking China, or for that matter de-risking from any particular single source country by means of scouting people who have presence in Japan or Korea or Vietnam. I take examples of rare earth magnets. I know China is still the largest producer in the country by miles, but there are options coming up because of the licenses that have choked the complete rare earth supply chain and hence the electric drivetrain manufacturing in country. So we are exploring options in for companies that are Japanese or Korean based but have manufacturing presence in Vietnam or some other countries which can de-risk China. One. Second, we also have our own manufacturing facilities in Mexico, which have a supply chain dependence on a lot of Indian forging suppliers, who in turn supply the forged components to that our facility. They in turn complete the gear manufacturing and then ship them to our axle manufacturing units in North America. So that helps kind of beat the trade war or the trade implications that US has posed. So all of this in small pockets are some of the steps that we are taking, and I'm sure every organization, every panelist and every member in this room representing organizations, to each his own, they are taking some steps in that direction to diversify from a risk standpoint and become more resilient. It is not only about China plus one. I think we should break that norm of China or Europe, but we should be more thinking or proactive towards being more resilient towards any shocks in the upcoming state.
I would say, I would like to add further. See, we are in a very opportune time actually, and the government policies are very favorable. And if you look at what our Honorable Transport Minister, Mr. Gadkari says, the transportation, the logistics cost today is at around 13 to 14%. The global benchmark is 8%. China is already somewhere less than 10%. What is the cost? That cost is mostly fuel. You're consuming more fuel because your transportation mechanisms are not efficient. You're not transporting through train, or you're not transporting. But what it adds to decarbonization. So when your log cost goes down from 14 to 8%, you're significantly moving towards lesser GHG emissions. That's one. Number two, lots of foundries and forging units in Europe and US are shutting down because of emission requirements.
Yes.
Okay, there's a huge opportunity for us to be green, but at the same time to have the world-class quality. Okay, so and we can be the best in class. That's an opportunity for us I personally know there are many foundries in Europe, they are shutting down because of these environmental requirements. It's difficult to meet those norms, but I don't mean to say that we should set up something which is polluting, but we should set up something which is more environment friendly in India, but at the same time, you will have to compete globally. We still have to have that mindset that this, what you produce in India is not for India, it is for the global market. So to me, I guess overall, it's not just China plus one, I would say Europe plus one, US plus one. Many of the global products will, India is going to become a hub. At the same time, we have to create those infrastructures. We need to create those availability of power, road, port, the port condition, the time taken to clear a consignment from the port. So every infrastructure, we are moving in that direction. We need to speed up. But I guess we are in a very good juncture at this point of time.
Yeah. Sorry, we are just running short of time. But the final question is, in 2 sentences, can we sum up today's discussion and spotlight our top priority for advancing India's nation-building mandates like EV adoption and green manufacturing? Starting from...
Yeah, if I could, I think I've already captured that. I think we need to invest in R&D as organizations. We need to invest in academia. There's no research, cutting-edge research that the industry can pick up from academia, which happens very commonly in China and US. Of course, the infrastructure is growing, no doubt about that. But I think also the crucial element for 2047 Viksit Bharat, manufacturing has a big role to play. I mean, we don't contribute to GDP as much as the services sector of India does. If we have to be 20,000 per capita by 2047, I think the human capital, I think I was reading somewhere, it's not only about China plus one, which is in terms of industries and everything, it's the quality of labor and the quality of manpower. Tomorrow you will have AI. Is our human labor able to adapt to that? I think we need to invest in education in a big way. That's the direction. That's the only way. Green will come because it's ingrained into our businesses now. I think these are 3 or 4 challenges that we need to probably overcome as a country.
Thanks, Gulam.
2 sentences you asked. Best is yet to come. We are in a great spot. The country is in a great spot. Second, we are renowned as a country full of passionate, hardworking people. So what we must do is keep working hard, stay vigilant.
Thank you, Nirban.
What I believe is the potential which is available for Indian companies, whether it is domestic or export, it's humongous. So it's how we ensure the quality of our product, the sustainability of our product, and meeting the regulatory requirements, whether it is domestic or global norms. Definitely India is going to expand in a very big way, and with all the support of all the organizations pan-India, definitely it's a lot of opportunities is there, and we can develop in that way.
Thank you, Anup.
Yeah. First of all, it's very important to be very clear on the technological roadmap of the company and what we want to do. For example, in short, our company has more than 30 partners as joint venture partners and TLAs. So we need not spend our time, energy, effort in reinventing the wheel. So it's very easy to, not very easy to make a partner, but to sustain the partner also. But important to find out what is the need of the OEMs here and what is available in the market, and there is no touch me not. Whether it is Chinese, Japanese or European, you need to have a good partner to meet the needs of the end customer, and that is how we are able to sustain. So maybe we did a EV JV very recently last year, and we have already started production in Pune. So it took me hardly 1 year. So this is how we have cut short the time, and that is how we are going to cut short the time, and this would help us to make a fast move. This is my view of looking at things. Thank you.
Thanks, Neeraj.
Yeah, so for me, the very first thing is a Indian companies, we move from small M to big M, which is currently what, when you talk about manufacturing, we talk about QCD. We have to move it to, with the sustainability, innovation is an integrated approach. And like what we are talking about Atmanirbhar, we should have Atmanirbhar technology. Innovation has to be Atmanirbhar. It's not saying that we don't take anything from the world, but a lot has to be done in the part of technology and innovation. So that is my first takeaway. Second thing is that wealth lies on the bottom of pyramid. And that is the area is still untouched when you are talking about decarbonization. That area is a very, very untouched area. We are in those areas when we talk about scope 3, for example, we are only doing the tick box there. Like we are giving support or we have involved a few suppliers, but entire value chain, there are a lot of work to be done. So that is my second takeaway.
Thanks, Prem.
Most of the points are said. I think India is at a very sweet spot to become Viksit Bharat, to materialize that dream as a manufacturing and global supplier hub. I think 3 parameters: cost competitiveness, resilient supply chain, and manufacturing with lower carbon footprint. So these 3, I think it would work as an enabler. What requires? Definitely the R&D investment in terms of technology, as well as in the clean tech startups and the investment in infra.
Thanks, Swayantani. Vikas?
Yeah, you said right. We are at a super sweet spot. I mean, what we need to do is an India mobility story will be at the intersection of a clean technology, localization, and R&D. And if we all going to club together, we're going to have a good run.
Thanks, Vikas. Shubhankar?
I would say, I guess all of us have said that we are in a very sweet spot with the opportunity time. The GDP is growing 7+%. 26 outlook is also very good with regards to GDP. Maybe there are some obstacles with regards to this war and all, but I guess we're in the right direction. And as he rightly said, infrastructure needs to grow. But I also agree with Gulam that China has reached a stage where the Chinese universities are now getting ranked at par with the US universities. And that's where the source of the technology is. They are no more dependent on technology coming from US. Be it quantum computing, be it chipset manufacturing, they are actually replicating a machine which is similar to ASML. So if you look at that, the industry, and I would like to take it forward, it's not just the universities or R&D, it is the industry-academia partnership that needs to improve. Okay? The universities in the US are not just of their own, they're significantly funded by the industry and the government. They don't survive of their own. So for us, the amount of investment which is happening in our premium institutes by the government and by the industry, I'm not very sure how much is the industry investing out there. And that's the reason you cannot blame just the institute. You need significant funds to do world-class research. Okay, if you want to publish a paper which is in the Tier 1 journal, you need investments out there. There has to be R&D funds with the professors. So I guess that's the space. Otherwise, we will be lagging behind and importing technology, which will actually stagnate us. And we'll then start getting the shocks like rare earth and other things. So if you have to be self-sufficient, Viksit Bharat, also our R&D investment and institutes need to become world-class.
Thanks, Shubhankar. Prasad?
I think to conclude, we can say that yes, we still miles to go as far as India is concerned, and we are talking about. But we are on the right direction. We are moving in this. Of course, the pace can be accelerated with all the measures, whatever we have discussed with that. And this is, the hope is there, definitely, for which we, along with the education, along with all these kind of mindsets percolated to each and every individual who are working in the entire ecosystem, that will lead somewhere where we are dreaming to be.
Thanks, Prasad.
Yeah, opportunities are there. At the same time, challenges are also there. Almost all the points have been covered, but I would like to say that the challenges which is there down the line, being a tier 1 company, my customer is sitting next to me. For scope 3, we are not allowed to use any recycled material, nothing like that. The challenges are there. We need to see how to cope up with all those challenges, how to come out of that, and how to maintain this decarbonization strategy across all our company, and at the same time, down the line, percolate the same thing to our tier 2 suppliers, tier 3, so that they are also getting equipped with zero carbon footprints as well. Thank you.
Thank you to all the panelists. Our discussion today paints a vivid picture. Ongoing wars such as the Israel-Iran conflict, energy shortages from Ukraine, and trade barriers with China are severely damaging global supply chains. Factories face shutdowns, costs are rising rapidly, and reliability is a risk everywhere. Yet a path forward emerges clearly, reducing carbon emissions across the automotive value chain. We explored how to blend this directly into business strategies for real protection against disruptions. It enables shifting suppliers from China to safer locations, lowers long-term costs through efficient clean energy, and ensures steady profit growth. Green practices also strengthen ties with investors and customers who value sustainability. India's automotive leaders hold the key. Our top priority must be full decarbonization of every production and logistics step. This aligns perfectly with national goals like electric vehicle expansion, PLI incentives, and building world-class green manufacturing. The time to act is now. Create supply chains that endure the bleed globally. Thank you for the powerful insights once again.